welcome back, Gillette Pronghorns fans. We're back here with another Coach's Corner interview. We haven't figured out a fun name for this yet, but we'll figure it out soon. But here we're with Coach Shawn Neary for the Heads men's basketball coach. And, Coach, you guys are doing pretty solid. It's a 16-1 record, 7-0 at home, and you guys got a fun matchup coming up this Saturday at 4 o'clock. But so far, how's the season going?
Well, fortunately, we've been off to a good start. We've had, just a good team effort this year so far. They've played well together. We have really good chemistry. They share the ball. They'll defend. So it's been, it's been a really good start for us. Obviously, 16-1. We're just got back from Christmas break now, so trying to get the guys back in the rhythm and kind of back in shape a little bit. So we look forward to the second half and hopefully continue playing well.
Yeah, you talked about playing really well. You guys are averaging 104.4 points per game, which says actually third and fourth is what I was finding out. One site said third, one site said fourth, but that's for a scoring period in the whole JUCO, so that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, the group's been able to we've been able to score, and obviously some of that is we've had some really big blowout wins. But at the same time, yeah, we've always tried to play fast at Gillette College, and we've tried to recruit guys that can score and guys that are able to play fast.
Right.
And so we don't, we kind of play that way. And I think if you look at the history of the program, we've always been in probably the top. Top 10, 20 teams in the country in scoring.
Right,
and,
absolutely.
I think it's a fun way to play, and I think I think our fans enjoy watching it, and our players certainly enjoy playing. When they can get some points up. So, but we've had to win some games also with some low-scoring nights too, and so I'm sure. As we head into Region 9 play, we'll see some teams that try to take the air out of the ball a little bit. They might look at that stat and say, well, we can't let them
we're going to change
much.
that, yeah.
So we'll have to adjust and play the way. Sometimes the flow of the game is the flow of the game, and I know coaches talk about, well, we're going to dictate pace. I think it's harder to dictate pace at the college level.
Oh, 100%.
Obviously, scouting's different, plus you also have the shot clock, and some coaches are able to really control their offense a little bit and not shoot till the last 5-10 seconds. We've never really played like that, but I'm sure we'll see some teams do that to us the second half, so we'll see how we adjust and handle it.
You bring up a good point about fans may not like the whole defensive small scoring games just because, a lot of people like seeing those high-scoring games. It's just like football. A lot of people want to see high-scoring football games instead of a very defensive game, which I'm the opposite. I'd rather see a nice low-scoring defensive game looking great. Now, if it's 0-0 all the way up until the fourth, that's not so much of fun. But anyways, that doesn't happen in basketball. I don't think it's ever happened being 0-0 going into the fourth quarter, so it'd be very impressive if that was the case, but that would also be not great shooting nights as well too. So, but speaking of shooting, 52% from the field so far this season, pretty solid, especially sitting up there again top with the JUCO rankings as well.
Yeah, and one of the stats that I'm really happy with is right now we're top 10 in the country in assists as well. I feel like one of the challenges of junior college basketball has been and always will be, how do you get guys to share the ball? How do you get guys to play as a team sometimes? Because there is that part of basketball where you're trying to, get your own stuff as well. So through the years, I think the best teams have always been those teams that have played together and have shared the ball. And so if this team continues to share the ball like they have been, I think we're hard to guard. The harder you are to guard, the better your percentages go up. I think it all ties in together. So for us, that's what I've been pleased with right now. It's just we do a good job of sharing the ball with each other. They trust each other. They make the extra pass. Sometimes we pass up a good shot to get a great shot, and as long as we continue with that mentality, I think this team will continue to be ranked highly in terms of assists.
And the assists per game, for those that don't know, it's 21.8. That's super impressive. And then not only that, defensively wise, you guys are only allowing 90.6, which is for teams not able to get to that 100-point. That's quite impressive as well too. Maybe you want that just a little lower a lot of times, but I mean 90.6, that's pretty solid, especially for the whole season so far for a 16-1 record.
Yeah, and I think part of that is our pace. It's just the pace of the game is going to put up some more points. Just because we're playing a faster pace. Junior college doesn't track pace. I could probably figure it out, but that's a lot of math. And I think again the key thing for us is that we're doing a good job as playing as a team right now. Whether it's team offense where we're sharing it, or whether we're playing good team defense.
Yeah.
So we want to continue to emphasize that as we go into the second semester and as we start conference play after this next game.
Yeah, no, and then you talk about defense, 19.7 turnovers you've been able to force so far. So team chemistry, offense, defense, all clicking. And you brought up a good point. This next game coming up, Western Nebraska. It's a 5-8 team, 0-4 away. So there's that right there. And they only average about 87.9 points per game. What are some of the things that you guys are going to have to do to not let Western Nebraska try to pull off the upset or to keep that scoring down?
We played at Western Nebraska in November, and we were able to come away with the road win there. I think they're a team that's much improved. I think they're continuing to get better. We saw them at our 3-day tournament, the Holiday Inn Classic.
Yep.
We saw them play 3 games there, and they last game before Christmas they beat Casper College at home, and Casper certainly is one of the teams that I think is going to have a chance to win the North, and so that was a big win for Western Nebraska.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean we gotta come out and do what we do against them. They got a couple guys that can really shoot it. They've got good size. I think their record is a little deceiving. I think they played some really good teams early, and again, I think they're a team that's getting better.
Yeah.
They open up on the 9th, Western Wyoming on the 9th, and then they go to Casper on the 10th, and then us on the 11th. So we'll get to see them play a couple times. We'll see what they're doing. But for us, we do put some time into scouting reports. There's no question. But I think for us, it's more important that we do what we do, and we focus a lot more on how are we guarding.
Right.
Whether it's defensive transition, whether it's ball screens, low post entries, how are we going to guard the ball? How are we going to rebound, make sure that we get our rebound coverages, and then offensively, again, try to attack and share it. So, for us, it really, I think, the whole year, the rest of the season, it's going to be what do we do and focus on us more than the opponent for sure.
Absolutely, and I want to go back. You talked about Western Nebraska. They've got a couple games this week before they take on you guys. You guys don't have any games besides the game on Saturday. How is that going to affect me? Because you've had that long stretch of being away, but then you had a nice little break for Christmas and all that stuff. But how does that all play into this week?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Christmas break at the junior college level is always interesting. Between travel and weather, and we've had a number of guys get caught up in Denver. There was some flight problems out of Denver, so some of our guys have been late coming in. And it's probably not unusual for other teams to be in the same predicament. Right. For us, I mean, yeah, they're going to have 2 games before us, and maybe it's an advantage, maybe not. I don't know. I think we'll just try to get our guys ready to play and try to, just do what we do. And but our guys are, they came back, and to me, their attitudes are good. We've had a couple good workouts, had a couple good practices. So this time of year, I think you're always concerned about. They'll lose a little bit of conditioning, but I think more than that, they lose timing. And they just haven't, even if they go home and shoot every day or try to get in some pickup games at home, it's not the same pace. It's not the same guys. So just trying to get back and get that timing. when I was a younger coach, a coach that I really respected always said, "You just got to play them back into shape," you know. And I've always kind of had that after Christmas, which is we just kind of got to play our way back into the shape, basketball shape, back into the timing of the game, and certainly back into defense and rebounding. So. Yeah, I mean we you know we're trying to get after them in these practices and certainly be smart about it, but at the same time try to get that rhythm back. But yeah, we're going to have to play our way back into it, and I think they will have a little bit of advantage with 2 games, but you know, our guys will be hopefully ready to go on Saturday.
Yeah, you talk about rhythm, and you talk about timing because, a lot of people are just like, oh man, rhythm, timing, that's not something that you have to worry about. No, it's something you really have to worry about, especially because of the long break. And, even though they are shooting, as you said, it's not the same. So what are you wanting to see from this game coming up? Yes, it's a team that, you talked about being a scary 5-8 team that could pull off a huge upset as well too. So what are you wanting to see from this team throughout practice this week to get back on that winning track to keep where you guys are headed?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, we just gotta, we were a little banged up before the break. I think we only played 6 or 7 guys in that last game at South Mountain, so we were a little banged up. So hopefully the guys are, come back and get healed up.
Yeah.
Obviously, the health of your team is such a critical thing as you head into conference play and finish that stretch of conference into the tournament. So, and again, you can't really control that, but what we can control is just making sure that we have a good attitude, make sure that we're working hard, we're playing together. So we'll just continue to emphasize those things and start putting together a game plan. Again, what are we going to see from Western Nebraska? They were earlier in the year, they were more of a half-court defensive team, and then lately they've been doing a little more full-court pressing, a little run and jump, maybe some traps. So, we'll see if they continue with that after the break, and we'll be ready if they choose to play that way.
You talked about injuries and being banged up, only playing 6 guys. What's the injury situation looking like? Do you know of anything as of now? I know, and I can't think of his name, but literally, it was maybe 2nd or 3rd game of the season, he went down. What's injury?
Yeah, I mean,
like?
you're talking about Cass Henry.
Yes, Cass Henry. I couldn't think of the name for a minute.
Yeah, Cass had a high ankle sprain, and he's slowly working back into it. Cass is in a situation where he could get a medical red shirt because he hasn't played in the allowable amount of games. So we're kind of in between right now whether he's going to be back or whether he should get a medical red shirt. So we're kind of in between right now on that one. Sayed, we had lost for the last 5 games to a knee injury. He's back. He's full practice now, so he's going. Jefferson didn't play our last game at South Mountain, but he's back. Drew had been his ankle had been kind of hit and miss all weekend down there in Phoenix, and he ended up playing just very few minutes in the South Mountain game, but he's had good practices back. And Javon Nesbitt was another one that was banged up, and Javon's moving really well right now. And those ankles are tough this time of year.
Yes,
I mean,
100%.
You got to keep, you keep playing, and they're not as strong once you sprain them a little bit, and so those guys just got to come back. They got to try to maintain it as best they can, and be a little lucky that it doesn't turn on them again. But our depth has been good this year, and we certainly have an outstanding group of sophomores. But our depth overall has been, I think, one of the things that's been strong for us, being able to play 8-9 guys consistently. You
bring up depth, and it's the same thing Coach Liz Lewis talked about in the bench players as well too. Javon Nesbitt, he's been coming off the bench, being that kind of 6th man. Do you kind of see that staying that way, or you thinking about maybe getting him some starts, or who else is the guy that you want in off the bench all the time?
Yeah, Javon really is a starter. I feel like this team has 6 or 7 to maybe 8 starters, and it's just a matter of who we put out there for the first 5. But Javon's had a great season, and just continues to play really good basketball, and obviously his health is a big deal to us.
Right.
But he's had a couple of good practices coming back off the break and trying to do some more maintenance on his ankles, just making sure that he's stays healthy and so far so good with Javon.
Is there one player that has just shown like extreme leadership throughout this whole process, being with players going down and then now trying to get back up and going and say, hey guys, we really need to focus back in. We're back playing basketball. Has there been that guy yet?
I just feel like this is a team that is, as of right now, it's really embodied, what a team should be. And they're enjoyable to coach because they do play team basketball. They do have a team attitude. And, when a guy is sick or injured, they just keep playing, they just keep playing. So we've been fortunate that way. I think we'll do an interview at the end of the year, hopefully.
Oh, yeah.
And at the end of the year, I hope I can say that this team was the best team in the league. We might not have been the best individuals. We might not have had a high major Division I player. We might not have a whatever. But I hope we can say that this team was the best team, and they played together. And, we talk a lot about we begin with the end in mind, Stephen Covey's 7 Habits. And one of the things is that we talk about begin with the end in mind. What do we want to be at the end? We want to be a great team.
Right.
And that means being great teammates. It means developing that depth. It means being there for each other, which they've done a good job of so far. And so we continue to build that as part of our culture. But the whole part of building a culture is having the right people and having the guys that have the right character and the right kind of people. So we've been blessed that way, and we hope to continue to be competitive as we go forward.
Absolutely, yeah, no, and being blessed, figuring out ways to win games, 16-1, and the fact that you're able to get a lot of those wins on the road with banged up players, super impressive, especially you see guys who have stepped up. So I want to go back to this Western Nebraska matchup coming up on Saturday at 4 o'clock here at the Pronghorn Athletic Center, so you don't want to miss it. It's going to be a fun game. Again, 4 o'clock, going up against a 5-8 Western Nebraska squad who struggles on the road, 0-4. But I want to talk about some of these players. Elijah Holland, 17.3 points per game, their leading scorer, and doing field goal percentage of about 34.2. But this is the big kicker, 78.1% from three-point land.
He's a really good shooter. I thought we did a pretty good job guarding him down there, but he did get loose towards the end of the game, made some threes, but he can really shoot it. He's just got a natural pure stroke. Maybe one of the better shooters we've seen so far, so we're going to have to do a good job on him.
It's not just him. You also have Maker as well, too, 12.9, but 76.9% from three-point. Now, granted, they may not be shooting a ton of threes, but when they are shooting, they're making them. So that's all the difference right there.
Yeah, and Hollins and Harris and Maker are their 3 leading scorers right now.
Yep.
And we've got to be aware of where they are. We got to know what their strengths are. Both Harris and Hollins can shoot it. Maker's a kind of an in-between guy, a little bit of twos, a little bit of threes. So we definitely got to guard them and try to make it as hard as we can on those 3.
What are the keys to limit the threes and keep them going inside the paint instead of trying to shoot those behind the arc shots?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, these kids, call them kids, but these guys, they just shoot the ball so well. And, I think you just got to – I don't know that you can – I've never been able to really figure it out, but I think you just got to try to contest those threes and make them uncomfortable. But it's hard when a team moves the ball and runs good stuff. They run good stuff. Coach runs good stuff with them. You're going to give up some shots. Hopefully we can contest it and eliminate second shots. That'll be a big deal for us.
Talk about second shots. It's perfect in entering as rebounding because you guys are huge rebounds and do really well, 39.5 a game. And then Western Nebraska is around 39.9 as well, too. So there's a lot of rebounding that you guys have been able to do. What are the keys to eliminate their rebounds and to focus more of where you guys can out-rebound them?
I think that's an area where we can continue to get better. I think we can be a better rebounding team. We've been trying to emphasize it as we've gotten back from our Christmas break. So we want to continue to be a better rebounding team. Yeah, it takes a lot of effort, and our guards have to rebound, so we'll continue to emphasize that and hopefully, continue to get better at defensive rebounding especially.
Yep, defensive and all these rebounds and everything is going to be a big thing, but also, has there been one player on the scouting report or maybe a couple players for Western Nebraska that are like your under the radar type guys that could make a huge impact into this game, and what are your keys to stop them?
Yeah, St. Preux has been playing a lot more lately. Earlier in the year, he wasn't playing as much, wasn't quite putting up some numbers. He's almost up to double digits now, so he's been playing a lot better, 9 a game. Bigger part of the offense, I guess, would be, I don't want to say he's been playing better, but he's been bigger part of the offense. And so, keeping an eye on him, knowing where he's at, trying not to let him get loose. But our guys have done a good job the first semester of, locking in defensively. And,
right.
Teams have shot it well against us at times, and they haven't at times. I mean, if we can ever figure that out, we'd like to. But continue to just grind away at making them make tough shots.
Absolutely. Well, a couple last questions. Season goals. Obviously, it's going to be you want a championship, do that thing. You want to get to the national tournament. But personally for you, what is the biggest season goal that you have for your guys that you set at the beginning of the season saying, hey, this is where I want you all to be. I want to win a championship, but this is also where I want you to be.
Honestly, we good or bad, we don't talk about goals. We just talk about trying to have standards and expectations and how we want to play. One of our things is we want to be playing our best basketball at the end of the year. And so, we try to gear everything we do towards that end. We want to be playing our best basketball in, February, March. And in basketball, that's when it matters the most, whether you like it or not.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
That's what we talk about a lot with our guys, is just continuing to grow as a team, continuing to grow as players. They're continue to develop their skills, and then integrating all that into the team, whether it's offense or defense. And so we're really trying to gear towards that end and be playing our best at the end of the season. And again, a good start is better than a bad start, but we feel like we still have a lot to prove.
Right.
And we want to make sure our guys stay hungry and continue to try to get better.
Yeah, trying to get better indeed. And then you mentioned defense just a little bit, and 13.7 steals per game. I mean, that's super high, especially for the amount of points that you guys are putting up a game. What's led to that success?
Yeah, we're getting a lot of steals. Jefferson's one of the leading steals. I think he's number 1 or 2 or top 10 in the country.
He's top 10, yeah.
Top 10 in the country. And we don't press. We don't really trap very much. So it's those guys just kind of getting after the ball. And, we do track deflections. That's a big deal to us. So we try to get 30 deflections a game. And that's one way we measure defensive effort, is through our deflections. And so our guys have bought into that. It's something our program's always talked about through the history of our program, especially the last probably 4 or 5 years that we've played. So, we try to emphasize that, getting hand on a ball, foot on a ball, getting steals, taking charges. Those things that can lead to turnovers is really important to us. And so, again, Jeff has done a good job of leading us there, but it's also everybody else being able to apply good ball pressure, anticipate, and make some plays.
Absolutely. Well, you guys have a fun matchup again coming up on Saturday at 4 o'clock. It changed from 11 to 4, so you guys get a little extra preparedness, get to sleep in just a little bit more. Is that right?
I'm not sure who put 11 on the website, but I don't think you're going to see very many college men's games.
Yeah, I was like, when I saw that 11, I was just like, I don't think that's right, but we'll see how that goes. And then, so, yeah, it's at 4 o'clock. If you guys want to come on out here, it's you know where it's at. It's at the Pronghorns Center, and come fill up these stands. I mean, all the stands are going to be pulled out, and it's going to be a fun game. It's only the guys playing on Saturday at 4. Girls are on the road on Thursday. So they're going to have a fun match against Western Nebraska as well, too. So that's how those things go. What do you want to say to the fans to get them to come on out here, to come support the Pronghorns?
You know, Gillette College, the community of Gillette and our program, we've always had great support here. I don't think we track our attendance, but
It's pretty solid.
I would argue that we have really good attendance.
Yeah.
And so it's a basketball community. They've embraced us, through the years, and we get great support. And all the coaches that come in here, and a lot of the, especially the teams that aren't used to it, they're like, holy cow, I can't believe this many people come to a junior college game, And so, when we have Division I coaches come here, Division II coaches from around the country, they're just amazed at the support. And so it's great. Our fans and our community has been super supportive, and we just hope to continue to put a good product on the floor that the community, the college can be proud of, and I think that draws a lot of fans and interest in our program. So hopefully we'll continue to be doing that.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, I think a lot of people are going to ask this. They're going to put it on the message board. They're going to be like, why is there a Pepsi can sitting right there in front and center of the table? So why'd you want to set that
there? Well,
there?
Pepsi's one of our big sponsors, and so I wanted to give them a shout out.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pepsi, big sponsor here of the Pronghorns. So if you're drinking any soda, Pepsi products, that's where you go. But yeah, just want to thank you again, Coach, for joining us here with our coaches show. Again, we're going to come up with a cool, fun name with this. I don't know yet. So, but we plan on doing this weekly. So basically, come tune in anytime on the Pronghorn Athletics YouTube page. You'll also hear on YouTube all the home games here at the Pronghorn Athletics YouTube page as well, too. Coach, thanks again.
Thanks, Chase. Appreciate it.
Awesome. This is Chase the Horseman, going to be signing off here for this coach's show, and we will see you guys next time.